That's nice.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to another live episode of The Grid. We're very glad you're here with us today. We are dealing with wedding day disasters. But before we do that, let's meet some disasters.
Wow.
Who
that's
said that?
rough,
That was so wrong. I
That's
take
mean.
that completely back. And to my left, a mi izquierda, es mi amigo Arci Concepcion.
¿Cómo estás? ¿Cómo está? ¿Cómo están todos? How are you?
I am well. How you doing, man?
I'm doing all right.
All right.
Doing well.
We got a wild show for you. We have brought our very, very famous beard man, the one, the only, the human trailer hitch, Mr. Brad Moore.
Guten Tag.
Guten Tag,
Oh,
Brad
throw
Moore.
in
Wie geht's?
some German. Wie geht's gut? All
I'm
right.
seeing him on like the edge of the screen, so I'll scoot a little closer here.
So if Brad's over here and he's partying with us, who does that leave over in the world of Brad?
Wow.
Pete Collins. All right.
The beardless one.
Wow.
Sorry, ladies.
You know what,
nothing
though?
For you.
The light still looks good on Pete over there. So anyway, good to have you with us, Pete.
Yep.
You're moderating the comments today and throwing them up on the screen, hopefully at a larger size than you just did so we can actually see them.
Well, if y'all weren't getting so old.
Yeah, but we are that
I can
old.
read them.
Hey, I had an eye exam today. That's how exciting my day was. I went to the eye doctor, and you know what he said? Your eyes look good.
Wow. You should ask Pete about his exam today.
I was about to say, I can beat that doctor today.
Oh, no, let's not do that, because I can only imagine.
In the end, you would think that it's just...
It wasn't all that was cracked
What's
up
the
to
bottom
be.
line?
It wasn't all that was cracked up to
Look,
be. Let's
there's no
say
buts
that.
about this. That's just...
But were you looking at planets? Did you see Uranus?
I saw the moons of Uranus.
Okay,
And it
all
was a
right.
little dark.
There he goes, bringing up the rear.
Okay. This is such a stupid show. Hey, hey,
Somebody's
wait,
favorite was in
last
I
week's.
have something. No, last week's was boss. So look, I have some important news to start the show. This is big news.
All right.
A lot of people are waiting for this news.
You're pregnant.
Besides that, other news. All right, here we go. I'm about to announce the official date of the Worldwide Photo Walk, my 8th annual. That's 8 years we've been doing this. My Worldwide Photo Walk will be Saturday, October 3rd, all around the world.
Nice.
All right, now, we, on this day, photographers all across the world walk for 2 hours. We have a competition. Now, the competition is optional. You don't have to do that. You have a competition. The best,
Photograph?
Photograph, thank you, is the word I'm looking for. In each city around the world, there'll be over 1,000 cities. In each city wins a copy and the ebook version of my Lightroom CC book for digital photographers, usually like $40-50. Boom, they get it for free. Then you're entered into the competition for all the winners, and we'll have 10 finalists who all win awesome stuff.
Yeah.
Including like Lightroom.
There's hardware, there's software. It gets crazy.
The grand prize winner wins a Canon DSLR and lens and the full Adobe Creative Suite, all kinds of stuff. Creative Cloud. Anyway, it's all. But I have to tell you the important stuff. Okay, so you know that put it on your calendar right now to join us. It's completely free. However, we're going to ask you once again to when you sign up. This is optional, but we're going to hope that you do this. Donate just $1 when you sign up to the Springs of Hope Orphanage. Last year, because of your $1 donations, we were able to raise $37,000 for the orphanage.
That's amazing.
Now, for an orphanage that houses 31 kids,
That's
$37,000 is changed their whole year. It made a huge difference. This year, we're shooting for $50,000.
I think we can do it.
I think we can do it too between the T-shirt sales from the official T-shirt and the $1. Now, here's the thing. Sign-ups open next Wednesday. So on the next grid is when the sign-ups open to sign up for a walk. This week, starting tomorrow morning.
Sometime tomorrow.
So if you led a walk last year, you will get an email sometime tomorrow with a link to go. So you get first shot at signing up again to lead a walk. So everyone that led one last year will be notified. Now, here's what happens. You have a week to go and create your walk.
Right.
And then next Wednesday, we let the public in and everybody in. All right, so you'll get this email, look for it tomorrow. Don't be that leader that changed your email and we don't know, that let it go to junk mail, and then afterwards go, I was never notified. We have a list of every leader that led a walk last year. You're definitely going to get an email tomorrow, as Brad says numerous times, at some point. At some point tomorrow, an email will arrive with the direct link for you to go and sign up to lead a walk again. Then next Wednesday, everybody can lead. Everybody can, the whole 9
Apply
yards.
to lead.
Apply to lead next week.
Because there's an approval process.
There is an approval process, but and we'll have all of that on the worldwidephodowalk.com website. So I just wanted to get the date out today, Saturday, October 3rd. All right, and so do you have an idea where you'll be leading a walk? We all lead walks. Where are you going to be leading?
I'm not sure yet. I'm hoping to lead a walk. Maybe it's going to be somewhere in California. I'm thinking because October 5th. I'm actually in Sacramento doing the Lightroom Power Tour, the Lightroom CC Power Tour.
All right, Brad, where do you think you're leading a walk?
Where are you leading yours?
I might be leading mine in Sydney, Australia.
Really?
Like a boss.
Nice.
Hey.
That's the plan. I haven't got it all nailed down yet, but that's the plan.
That's on my list of places I really
Now-
really want to go.
Now, if I do a seminar or something over there, then Brad will be there. If I don't, Brad will be leading one in Tampa, Florida.
Dunedin.
Viewers of Sydney, Australia, go online and picket Scott
Request.
Kelby to do a seminar in Sydney.
I just want to be on vacation.
Nice.
No, but I mean, I've always wanted to go to Australia. I kind of hate to go over there and not do it, not do it one
it'd be
day.
kinda neat.
So I don't know.
It would be cool. It
I
would
don't
be
know how.
cool.
I don't know how to reach all the photographers in Sydney.
You know what's
so.
one place? If I had a dream place of going to go do a photo walk,
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
if I had a place that I would love to go, it would be the Philippines.
The Philippines.
The Philippines,
Dude, the
they go
Philippines
nuts.
photographers
They
are
turn
so
out.
good. And they turn out huge for the photo
Yeah.
walk. And they win a lot of years because they're really good. I don't know what's going on in the Philippines as far as what's in the water that's making photographers unbelievable over there,
Yeah.
but they are.
They're
Hey,
amazing.
so and I don't want
Amazing.
to spend too much time on this. I just want to remind you, October 3rd, official date for my 8th annual Worldwide Photo Walk. Lots of fun, lots of prizes. It's completely free, but this year, again, we're walking for a purpose, and that is to raise money for the Springs of Hope Orphanage in Kenya. And if you can help us, just $1.
That's it.
$1.
Now, hey, can I just tell you this?
What's the URL? WorldwidePhotoWalk.com, but it's not open till next Wednesday.
They can go. If you go to that URL, you'll see the website.
Yeah,
we're,
site's there.
We're still making tweaks.
Yeah,
You
it's a little
can
hacky
even
right now.
apply, but we're not going to start approving leaders until next week.
Ustreamer 1594 just finished saying, is that a Tinder shirt Scott's wearing?
No, this is not a Tinder shirt. So this was a gift. I wore this today. This is a shout out to my buddy Dave Clayton over in the UK. So when I was doing my seminar over there, he gave me the shirt. The shirt says, you can't see it really, I have too many guitars. And then in little letters it says, said no one ever.
I only saw that partially earlier today. I thought it said hamburgers instead of guitars. Because you're a burger fiend.
I do love burgers, but this is not a burger. This is, I have too many guitars, said no one ever. My buddy Dave Clayton
Nice.
out there in
Good
the
for
UK.
them.
Shout out to Dave, great, good guy. Hey, so I want to read the first comment. So today our topic is dealing with wedding disasters. And before we start, I just want to read this one from Brian Clary. It's a very poignant one. It says, I had a wedding disaster when the minister asked if there were any objections. The bride of all people said she objected, then yelled to the family and friends that she was in love with Brad's beard and only it could make her happy.
Wow.
Wow.
That's good. That
And then
beard has got
the
power.
photographer said that he had nothing in his contract that covered disasters of Brad.
Sad. Okay.
Sorry, Brian.
So let me tell you why we wanted to do this episode. So I don't shoot a lot of weddings, mostly because it's very, very hard. It is very, 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 very hard. I take my hat off to full-time wedding photographers. I know that they make a lot of money. Dude, they earn every single penny. So the first thing when I wound up doing this wedding was I asked Brad, of course, he would help. Brad loves weddings as much as I do.
That sounds good. That's a lot of love right there.
I had an ace in my pocket. So I called my friend Kathy Perupsky and I said, Kathy, and she, by the way, Kathy's here in the studio. She's right
there.
over there. But we're not going to show her on camera. She made us promise we wouldn't. But anyway, Kathy is great. Now, Kathy did many, many, many weddings a long time ago, and then she kind of got into this, like, I'm not going to do weddings anymore. But she was very, very kind enough to help me. And she is really, really great at one of the hardest parts and one of the most stressful parts, which is not the ceremony, but at doing the formals. And she is really, really good at corralling people and getting people to do stuff. She was a tremendous help. And also, Kathy spent a lot of time in the make-ready room with the bride, and she was able. I think having a woman in there, I think, is a tremendous advantage.
Yes. Absolutely.
Because it's not awkward, it's not weird, and they feel very comfortable with her. Well, Kathy's a great shooter, and she did a lot of great shots. She was a tremendous. I sent her a note that night, and I'm like, "Oh, Kathy, thank you." When I saw her cards shots, oh, I needed that. Do we have a shot? Oh, there it is. I mean, she's like, I had this checklist of things I wanted, and she got everything. So I was really, really very blessed to have her on the shoot. So it was the three of us shooting, so that sounds like, oh, great. You got a great team. You got a great crew. We've done this before. I've shot other weddings with Kathy, so we had this down. Do
you want to put out the disclaimer that you are not necessarily for hire for weddings, so that you don't start getting?
I get asked to do weddings all the time. I get private messages on Facebook. What would you charge for my wedding? And I'm like,
there's not enough money in the world.
Yeah, it's really hard.
This is a good friend of yours. His daughter.
This has to be like, somebody really,
like Dave Clayton level of.
Yeah, like Dave Clayton. I would shoot Dave Clayton's wedding. I would fly to the UK and shoot it, but there's few people that I would do that for. Anyway, so here's what happened. We did the right thing. We scoped out the property beforehand, so we knew the name of the hotel, and luckily we were very lucky in that the ceremony and the reception and the cocktail party would all be held in the exact same place.
Now, before we go any further on this,
being
because
the property of the hotel.
One of the reasons that we wanted to do this was because they're giving me this entire story, and I'm like, this has tons of educational value for anybody that's doing this. So right now, let's just take a quick second there to just go, step number one. If you're going to do somebody's wedding, the number one thing to do before you do anything else is scout. Scout.
Right. So because you don't want to get there and realize, oh my gosh, I didn't bring lights and we need lights, or whatever it is, you want to come up with a plan. Well, we spent a pretty good amount of time analyzing. Number one, and here's the things that we do. Now, we went online. Number one, I want to see what other wedding photographers have done there. Right? I want to see what they've shot, areas they've shot. I want to get ideas. I want to look at the room where the wedding is going to be held. I want to look at the room where the reception's. I don't want any surprises when I get there. Well, one of the things that they had that was fantastic was these columns, right? So there's a balcony, it's a covered balcony with these beautiful columns going all the way down, and it was tailor-made for a bridal portrait.
Perfect.
And so it happens to be right on the river, and there's this beautiful river area there, and there's all this stuff, and we were like, all right, we're going to shoot here, we're going to shoot there. We had it all mapped out. And so it was pretty much going to be really, while the hotel itself really didn't have anything to shoot, the grounds were fantastic. So we knew that we were set. But I think that's the first thing. Before you walk into a situation, at least go online and look for photos. Because if you type in the name of the venue, let's say it's St. Anthony's Church, you type in St. Anthony's Church wedding photos, Google will give you 500 wedding photographers that shot there and pictures all over the place. And you can go, oh, we can do it by the pew, we can do it by the piano, we can do it by the this, we can do it outside. So we did this for the venue where this was held. So what we hadn't planned on, and of course things happen.
This is Florida.
This is Florida. We've experienced a 21-day stretch of torrential rain.
Like 8 inches of rain.
It was so bad that we literally closed the offices on Monday because you couldn't even get into our parking lot. There was so much water. People couldn't get out of their homes. Ajna, who is our social media duchess, she had to abandon her car in the middle of the street. I mean, we saw a picture of it. It's really, really bad. So it was rain on a level. I've lived in Florida for many years. I will not tell you the number, but I was born here. So, 34, 35 years. Anyway.
97.
Since 97, thank you. Was that the last time we had rain?
97 years old.
97 years old, thank you, Pete. So, I've never seen rain at this level. And we're used to rain in Florida. Summer, every day, 4 o'clock, the rain started.
You probably hear it on the show all the time.
But let me tell you how bad the rain was. The rain was so bad that not only could we not shoot outside, but so we're shooting inside the bridal suite. The windows, of course, are tinted. So we're shooting natural light, and the windows are tinted. There is a balcony outside, and the storm was so bad we couldn't even chance opening the tinted window to get natural light in. It was because Brad was like, "Dude, you open that door." He goes, you can get
All it takes is one gust of wind.
One gust
and all
of
of a sudden,
wind.
the wedding gown is drenched.
Yeah, and we don't touch the wedding gown. We're like, do not touch the wedding gown.
It was hanging up by that sliding door, and he was trying to take pictures of it. And I was like, well, what if we move it over there? And I started to grab it. I'm like, I'm not touching the dress because I don't want to ruin the bride's dress.
No. But anything could go wrong when you open that window. But that's how bad it was. So that was the first problem, is every single place that we had decided to shoot was now completely off spot. Now, the hotel itself, when I tell you, and Brad will tell you, there was no place to shoot. So I met with the event coordinator. Do you have a staircase? Any place we can shoot from overhead? He said, we have a fire escape. Okay, do you have a staircase? Do you have a piano? Do you have anything? And he goes, well, I could let you in a meeting room.
So that's what we did.
And that's exactly what we did. We went to an empty meeting room. Now, in that meeting room, I put this on my Facebook page. In that meeting room, there were 3 windows. And so I walked over to the window. This is before the bride went. So the 3 of us went over there and said, where are we going to shoot? We opened up. So imagine just an empty square meeting room where you would hold a, small...
Soiree.
Not a soiree. You would hold a business meeting. That's where we're going to shoot our bridal portraits. I go to the window. I open up the windows.
At least we had windows.
That was the only good. We open up the windows, and we're literally facing a rental car agency and a multi-level parking garage right out there. We're on the first floor. So you open the window, and there's and this. It was so bad. I'm going to pull up a picture for you. Give me just a second, and I'm going to pull up a picture for you off my Facebook page to show you this. That's not my face.
Now, I'd like to just kind of point in here and just talk about this stuff, because I'm sitting there and they're telling me this story, and I'm like, dude, this has to be the show. We have to talk about this at the show, because there's a couple of different things that happen here. The number one thing is, when people talk about scouting and they talk about the concept of scouting and working on that, almost always, invariably, somebody will turn around and be like, well, aren't you kind of worried that then you're just going to have the same picture that everybody else has? If you're just looking at that stuff, isn't it copying? Isn't it this? Isn't it that? Aren't you coming up with creative ideas? And I'm like, oftentimes what I like to try to tell people is, yes, at one point you want to go there and you want to find something for inspiration. But at the end of the day, and this is my opinion only, you are there to be a wedding photographer. Your job is to make the bride's pictures as beautiful as they can be.
Yep.
You are not there to build a portfolio. You're not there to build your amazing thing. So if there's the shot with the bride on the front row and the 5 rows in the back are empty and she's looking up and she's smiling, and that's been done 35 times, you know who cares zero about the fact that it's been done 35 times? The bride.
Yeah, I'm not building
She's
a
like,
portfolio.
I want that shot.
Yeah.
I want my face in that shot.
Yeah.
You should know how to do that. So when you start with your scout, that's a great place for you to go. That doesn't necessarily mean you can't go there and try something different.
Yeah, and we did. But you also have to realize when we look at a location, what we're trying to find is, where could we shoot?
Yep.
When you walk into a place and there's a spiral staircase, you don't go,
That's been done to death.
it's been done to death, but we still do it, right? We're still going to shoot the spiral staircase. So, I mean, I wasn't, I'm not going there to steal other photographers' pose. I don't have that bride with that lighting on that
That's right.
day and all. It's all different. But I'm looking, so where's
Where's
they
the
shoot?
start?
All right, so it's called research. All right, anyway. So I want to show you the picture. So if we can, I got to go into video control room 2. All right, so here's the picture right here, if I can show you.
That's awesome.
So she's looking out into the rental car agency and a parking lot. And so one of the things that anytime I shoot indoors and there's a window, I always have to make a decision. That decision is, Pete's making noise. The decision is, do I want to see what's outside the window or not? Just straight up. Do I want to make this like an HDR where you see out the window? Now, if there was something beautiful out the window, maybe. But I could probably show you 10 or 12 instances that I've shot brides, and the shots I like to not see what's out the window. Right. In this case, I don't want to see what's out the window, and I did something that I've rarely done. I shot 3 stops overexposed, so I made it dramatically brighter than it would be in real life, right? And I can tell you, I don't think I've ever shot 3 stops overexposed on purpose.
Right.
So here's what it looked like, 3 stops overexposed. Same exact scene. That's 3 stops overexposed. So it basically took the parking garage and all that and just completely blew it out. And of course, we floofed the dress. The floof is the David Zeiser word. That is a trademark of David Zeiser and Company.
I think you owe him $1.
I do owe him $1. We floofed the dress. She had a beautiful dress. It was a very Cinderella-like dress. And I had her look out the window, and I had her look to the left and look up, and all that kind of stuff. But this is one we didn't see on the website because so I brought you a behind-the-scenes photo. I'm going to pull it up in just one second. But I want you to see the kind of room we were in, and then when I talk about some of the things that we did in post-processing, there wasn't much to do in post-processing there because the photo out of the camera was very, very, very bright. I actually just went and lowered the highlights a little so you could see a little more detail in the drapes. I didn't want to look like she was just looking out into nothing. Right. I wanted it to be obvious there's drapes there. So on the left side, I had to paint in some highlights so you can, like over here, I had to bring back a little bit of highlights. This side was fine. You can see it was drapes, but over here it was kind of blown out. But I also made it black and white. This is a trick I learned from Mr. Brad Moore. So Brad's done this quite a lot with concert photography where Brad said, if I have a situation where the guitar player, he's in a great pose and there's a big ugly green light on him or the lighting's just bad, he makes it black and white. And he told me that years ago. And ever since then I've thought, what? When I have a situation where the lighting's just, it just doesn't look good, boom, black and white. Mm-hmm. Now I like black and white for some wedding photos anyway. There's probably more black and white photos in the wedding album, which I'll show you in a moment, than probably color. Anything I do. I'm very big into color, and I know that you're supposed to like black and white, but
But every once in a while you're like, what, this needs a little pop of color, and you'll just do kind of some selective color.
Just one thing, I think it's like on the flowers sometimes you do it. Is it just roses, red?
Just the eyes.
Just the eyes. Just gonna pull that in there.
I'm not doing selective color. One pupil. Hey, we have some comments coming in here. Stephanie A. Richard?
Yeah.
Yes, good job.
Stephanie, yay. I'm so bad at reading people's names.
They only have to comment for 2 years before you figure out the name.
I know, I'm really bad at that. All right. So Stephanie is a good thing. Every time I say I'm not doing weddings, someone books me. All right, can I tell you something? This is a true story. I got home that night, like 11 o'clock at night. We went from 1 o'clock to 8:30 straight, not even taking a break, standing, right, Kathy, the entire time.
Then we got dinner.
At 8:30, we got a half-hour break for dinner, and then we were back on till late at night. But anyway, so I get home from my wife, and we sit down, and I look at her, and she goes, "You look beat." And there was like a butter knife on the table, and I handed it to my wife, and I said, "Honey, I'm telling you right now, if I ever say I'm shooting a wedding again, I want you to take this. I'm giving you permission to stab me 100 times with this butter knife. 100 times to remind me, oh, that's right, I don't do weddings." So,
but the funny part about again, I'm sorry. It's just, but yet you wind up shooting weddings.
I know, because you know what? Some part of me actually I love the romance of it, and I love the beauty of it, and I love that part of it. But it's everything else. I can tell you the thing I hate the most, and I'm going to make this change if I have to do a wedding again. Ready? Ready?
Okay.
If I have to do a wedding again, I'm going to let the bride and groom know up front, I'll do this, blah, 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 blah. My assistant will be shooting the formals.
It's the worst part. Kathy will be shooting the formals.
Kathy will be shooting the formals.
And I was talking to Calibra about it, and she goes, "So what was the toughest part of the day?" And I said, "The most stressful part, honestly, is the formals." And what's interesting is the formals are the part that nobody really cares about. It's just documenting who was there.
It's the easiest lighting setup, though.
Oh, yeah. You put a big light behind you and click, and I'll show you a picture of me shooting the formals.
Yeah.
But it's chaotic. And the bride and groom they're just got married, and they're kind of freaked out. Everybody wants it just to be over, and nobody gets a print of the formals. I want an 8x10 of me with my grandma. He's like, and very few of them want.
Nobody loves grandma,
right? It's grandma. But anyway, and then however few that the bride thinks they want, once they're there, like, well, we need it with Bobby Joe, and we need it with Cindy, and we need it with the ushers, and they start pulling people in. So however long.
Clarence over by the door. He was great.
Clarence.
Get Clarence.
Get
Bring him
Clarence
in
in there. All right. So anyway, so we were. That's what I told my wife. I said, "Honey, if I ever have to do it again, I'm going to let someone else shoot the formals." And they'll know up front, when it comes formal time, I'm going to go back up photos or do anything else. Now, I have some things that I'm going to be talking about that I do at a wedding that are different, that you're going to find really surprising in a minute on how I work with the bride and groom. And you're going to either think, oh my gosh, I'm going to do that from now on, or you're going to go, how do you get away with doing that? Mm-hmm. We'll talk about that in a few minutes. But I just heard, as Pete says, shake it, don't. Hey, can you wrap that, Brad? Wrap it.
Wiki.
I would go to the jib shot now.
Yeah, the jib shot's just going. Whoever's. Yeah. Did they leave the control room?
So you have a GoPro. You may have even used it a little bit. But how do you get the footage off of that camera onto YouTube or Facebook or wherever you want to share it? How do you edit your footage into a story that you can share with family and friends? Hi everyone, I'm Mia McCormick, and that's what my brand new class on KelbyOne is all about. I'm going to bring you up to speed on GoPro Studio. That's their free editing software, and I'm going to give you the tips and techniques to get your very best GoPro footage yet. So I hope you'll come check out my brand new class on KelbyOne.com.
I've been shooting headshots since 2002 when I started my headshot business. Headshot photography in New York was going crazy and I needed to earn a living, and there was never anything out there or any information for how to take a good headshot. Fast forward, headshots are crazier than ever. They need a good headshot, and it's not only actors. Everybody has a digital identity. I wrote a book called The Headshot. It is everything that I have figured out over the last 12 years of shooting these suckers and becoming known as one of the best headshot photographers in the world. I go over everything. You're gonna get the lighting, you're gonna get positioning, you're gonna get the way I direct them. It's all about expressions and connecting with your subject. I'm gonna give you all the tools to do that. When I do a headshot that somebody looks at and goes, wow, that's me, to have the ability to do that well is something that you gotta have in your repertoire as a portrait photographer. I'm Peter Hurley. This is my new book, The Headshot. Check it out wherever cool books are sold. Shebang!
Create your own space at squarespace.com.
Welcome back, everybody, to The Grid RC here with Mr. Scott Kelby, Brad Moore, and Preet bringing up the rear. We have a couple of different giveaways.
Pete bringing up the rear.
That was a joke.
Sorry. Hey, there he is.
Yeah.
There he is.
Sorry, I
Hey,
fell
Pete.
behind on that one.
So Pete's monitoring the chat. He's actually doing Brad's position on that. And there's a bunch of different questions that we'll get to in just a second. But before we do that, I did want to mention a social contest winner. So on the KelbyOne blog, we have a social media challenge, and Genevieve Martin wins this time around with a delicious looking picture.
That makes me hungry.
That makes me hungry.
Oh, that is gorgeous.
That is. Ooh, look at that. A caramel pecan cheesecake.
Is that what that is?
Yeah, and she made the cake too.
She made it?
She made the cake. It says
Genevieve,
right there.
if you're coming to Photoshop World,
Bring the cake.
bring the cake.
Or we could have an in-studio guest if she ever wants to come by.
Yep,
make
just
cake.
bring the cake.
Bring the cake.
So anyway, congratulations, Genevieve. That was awesome. Congratulations to that. If you want to find out more about those things, make sure that you go to the KelbyOne blog. That's where we post all of our social media challenges. I also want to do the giveaway, so make sure that we do that. We are going to be giving away a couple of different things. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to give away How Do I Do That in Lightroom? The quickest ways to do the things you want to do right now by Mr. Scott Kelby. Brand new book. We'll go ahead and we'll give that away. It's important to also note that the ebook is available
Wow.
until August 8th for $10 for KelbyOne members. Make sure you go to rockynook.com/Kelby-exclusive. It's $15 for non-members with a coupon code LightroomKelby at kel.by/howdoilrrn.
we make easier links?
Wow, that's a hard link.
There's a thing called, Perry showed this to me, there's a thing called Pretty Links where you can take and make better, easier to read links.
Well, you can also do that on Bitly.
Yeah, you can just
let you make a
customize it.
custom link.
I know, but you don't
That
have to
was
worry about
customized.
That was a customized.
I know.
So anyway, so the other thing is also we're going to be
Customized
giving
so you
away.
could never find it.
We're going to be giving away Peter Hurley, The Headshot. It's here.
It's here. We have printed copies.
That is the
It's
actual book.
That is the actual book. Can you flip it open? It is a book with the best flip appeal. When you open it up and it makes you want to read this book. It is so. He did such an amazing job.
I'm going to try to give it some justice here, but Yeah, he's got great stuff. I mean,
it's an amazing
He's a
book.
fantastic educator, and Peter really does come through when
really
you're reading
does.
this book. So you're going to be very excited to get that. One of you guys is going to get that. Make sure also that the print book is available. It's 35% off at Peachpit, peachpit.com/theheadshot. All you got to do is use coupon code THEHEADSHOT.
By the way, the pre-orders for that book, this is the exact words of my contact at Peach Pit in the marketing department. She said the pre-orders for Peter's book are, her exact words, through the roof.
Really?
Yeah.
Good for you, Peter.
You know why?
Through the roof.
Because we've been saying it's been coming for like the past year.
Yeah, okay, that's good. All right, here's the thing.
Couple
Sorry,
different
Peter.
things. Now, back to the wedding, right? Because you've already set up the scenario.
Yeah, I got a couple questions.
Oh, okay. All right, I'll do the questions. So, Ustreamer 7431. Actually, we'll get to that one in a
that's
second.
fine.
Okay,
Yeah.
what lights did you bring for the shoot, Scott?
Okay, so we brought one strobe. We brought an Ellen Chrome Ranger Quadra, so the small little battery pack, right? So really, really small, really, really lightweight, and we brought one 53-inch softbox. I brought it just for the bridal portraits. As it turned out, we needed it on a level we were not expecting, but I did bring that nice big one, and I also knew that with that big a softbox that I could light huge groups. Now the softbox, it's a very inexpensive softbox. You know, the 53-inch is, how much is it? $280?
Let's check.
Okay, Brad's going to B&H to look at the price, but it's a 53-inch MIDI Octa, M-I-D-I Octa, and this is like my workhorse go-to softbox. I lit about 30 people with it, and I lit just the bride. And I'll have some pictures for you to show you in a minute. It is $299 right now at B&H. They have it in stock. It is my go-to softbox, and it is absolutely just the boss. So we brought one. Now we also brought two Canon 600EX RT flashes. So no, I'm sorry, one flash, and I had a trigger for it.
I brought two, but we only used one.
Yeah, we only used one. So I had a trigger on top of my wireless trigger, and the RT has wireless, so it's not line of sight.
Yeah,
it's actual
radio
wireless
transmission,
radio transmission, so it fires every single time. So that was great. So that was really it. Those are only two lights. Next question.
Now, the next question. Ed G Photography. How many pictures did you make, Scott?
Okay, so Ed, I have that exact number. Number one, now there were three photographers. Myself, the wonderful Kathy Porepsky, and Mr. Brad Moore. Brad took, I would say, 200, is that right, about production shots? So
production shots.
Okay, so that's shots behind the scenes, which I'm going to show you some in a moment. So I could be able to show it here on the grid, or like, here's what we were doing, and just in teaching. So Brad always takes production behind the scenes shots, I guess is the best way I can describe it. So Brad took a couple hundred of those. Between Kathy, myself, and Brad, not using high megapixel cameras, no 50 megapixels, just I was using a 1DX, you were using a 1DX. Kathy was shooting a
D3S?
Nikon D3S, 113 gigabyte for one wedding, 113 gigabyte. It was exactly, including production shots, 4,866. Wow. Now, let's break it down. Break it down. We shot for 10 hours.
Close to it.
So you're talking
9
480 shots an hour for three photographers. So in an hour at an active wedding, you're only talking about really 160 per person. Thank you, P. I love the math. I love when you do the math. So we're only talking about 160 shots per hour, and we walked in the door and we started shooting. I mean, it wasn't like, hey, let's hang out for a while. We walked in the door, the bride's going to be here, they're coming here, they're going up to the suite. I mean, we engaged immediately. So when you think about it, 160 shots at an active wedding when you are supposed to be covering everything photojournalistic style is a lot. So I'm going to really quick take you through. I'm going to take you through I'm going to let you look at the wedding book. You want to hear something cool? Ready? So this is what I want to talk to you about. I had the wedding book complete by Monday.
But see, and this is the part that I think is really cool. It's like, just step back and take a look at this. One of the first things that people will usually say is either that's a lot or that's a little, and it's almost always that's a lot. Because I think that what happens is people that aren't shooting it are like, man, Really, it's 5,000? You'd be surprised as to how many frames you're ripping when you're at a wedding.
That's not that many between 3 photographers.
So
Not between 3 photographers.
So there's the first thing. And then the first thing is, man, how do you go through it? And it's like, the person who has a system down to do this can get a book done in a relatively short amount of time. So when Scott came back and was just like, yeah, man, I did this wedding, this, that, and the other, man, it was a mess. It was this, it was that. And I'm like, oh, man, yeah, I feel you.
I already delivered a proof of the whole
He's
book.
like, yeah, I sent the book. And I'm like, I know people now that I've shot weddings for that I have yet to do a book for. Like 2 years in.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like,
It's
your
not
book
just
is
you, dude.
done?
This is very common. So here's what I wanted to do. Number one, I just wanted to get it done. Number two is when I shoot something, I want to see how I did. I wanted to see how Kathy did. And she crushed it. And I've shot so much with Brad. I knew how Brad was going to do. Brad always does great.
Well, and most of my shots are probably from the party.
Yeah, most of
The
now,
reception.
I will say this. Can I tell you something? When you have a concert photographer shooting a party,
You got it.
he had it down. He had it down. All right. Now, so here's what I do that is going to surprise a lot of people. I just go and I put the whole wedding book together. I just put it together myself. I don't send the bride and groom anything to look at. I don't say, here's all the photos, pick what you want. Here's why. And I want you to hear me. I know you're freaking out. I want you to hear me out. Number one is, this is my job. I'm a professional photographer. I think that if you hire a professional photographer, that part of my job should be I'm an expert photo editor. I don't mean an expert in Lightroom. I mean an expert in putting together what are the best shots. So now, I don't tell them you can't make any changes, but I lay the entire book out and go, here you go. Let me know which ones you want to change. Let me know if there's any that you want added or any. But if I'm going to give you the perfect example. A friend of mine right now had her wedding done. All right, just had a wedding not long ago,
Right.
maybe 3-4 weeks ago. The photographer sent her 800 photos to look through. She told me that it took her working on it every day for a number of hours, 2 solid weeks, to get it down to 350 photos.
Scott, do you know how long I've been married?
How long have you been married?
I've been married 8 years.
Yes?
Do you know that I have yet to order my photo book? Because I got a stack of pictures, and I was like,
But see, I think it's the photographer's job to go, look, I'm a professional. Here's the best shots. What else would you like added? So I sent them the spread, and you know what I've heard back so far? They've asked for one photo. They said, do you have one with ready? Grandma. And you know what my answer is?
Yes,
Absolutely.
I do.
Because when I sent them, I said, look, this is not final. The images aren't final. They're close, but there's a couple I see that I want to tweak.
Right.
The layout's not final. If you want anything added, if you want anything taken away, like, oh, I don't like the way I look at that photo. Boom, it's gone, out. But I sent them a full PDF at full size, 13 by 11, right? 2-page spread. I set up the PDF so they see it in 2-page spreads. So, because how it lays out as a spread is very, very important. But I would say, and RC can back me up on this, I'm pretty decent at laying out the book.
I think you're phenomenal at laying out books.
You're very kind.
That's
But-
the one thing I'm like, dude.
All right. So
Don't get me started.
Now, what this does is this doesn't create frustration. I've never had a bride be unhappy. They're always like, "Oh my God, the book looks great," and they always say, "Is there any with my nephew, with my cousin, with my whoever?" Absolutely, sure there is. There's 5,000 photos. There's people that weren't in your wedding. We have pictures of. So I can go and drop anything in. Do you know how much stress that relieves from the bride? Do you know how much stress that relieves from you? And how much easier it makes the process. So I imagine that when I'm done, the bride and groom will have changed about 3 or 4 photos.
Yeah.
And I can have their book to them next week. Just however long it takes for them to print it and ship it. Because they'll drop the photos in, I'll add them in. Now I know that people are, my brides would never. If you lay it all out on the front, and then when we're done with the wedding, I'll take all the very best photos and combine them into a book for you.
I want to look at step-by-step pictures of all of that stuff. I want you to send it to me. Then you don't want.
Here's how I do it. I'm going to take the best photos and put them in a book. So, you'll hear people talk about like, look, if you lay out what your expectations are for the wedding up front, my expectations are now, my assistants do the formals. While they're doing that, I'll be doing something else important, getting a sandwich. No, I mean editing, backing up the images on site. Sandwich.
While having a sandwich.
While having a sandwich. Number 2 is, don't worry, I got the book part. I'll lay it all out. I'll send you a proof, and then you can take any you want out and any you want in. And to hear my friend talk about, like, she's got 800, she's down to 350 photos. My book, listen to this, and this is important. My book is 112 pages. I think my book's 112 pages. It includes 150 photos at 112 pages. Now, my friend has narrowed hers down to 350. What that means is a lot of her photos are going to be this big. They're going to be pages with little thumbnails. You're going to lose all the impact from the book. Mm-hmm. You're going to lose all the emotion from the book because you're trying to get 300. I tried to talk her out of it, like, you need to trim about 200 more. And she was like, I can't do that. You're putting the bride in an impossible situation. Mm-hmm. You're putting him in an impossible situation. I'm going to take you through.
This ain't Ben-Hur. It's not like you'd be like, hey, let's take a look at my wedding.
I'm going to take you through this real quick. We're just going to blast through it. Here we go. So I'm just going to blast through it. This is a totally set up shot.
Who prints your books? People want to know.
I'm sending him to Blurb, but here's the thing. This is key. I'm doing it in Lightroom. This is key. You have to get the upgraded paper. It's about 20% more to get the Pro Pearl Pro line. It is gorgeous paper. You will not even know it came from Blurb if you upgrade the paper. The paper, Brad saw it. Brad will tell you. The upgraded paper is absolutely beautiful. The regular paper at Blurb is fine, but for a wedding, you gotta upgrade the paper. Okay, back to our thing real quick here. All right, totally set up shot. Now you're gonna see a shot in a moment I'm not very proud of, but ooh, there it is.
Wow.
Ring with heart thing. Wow. Somebody asked me on my blog, they asked me, hey, like, I mentioned this, and I said, did I do that classic shot with the thing? Yes, I did. So Brad is standing behind with one of the Canon flashes. You lay it flat, you aim the Canon flash at a 45-degree angle, and it makes the heart. Wow. Now, after I did it, I walked over to the bride and showed her, and she's like, oh I love it. Boom. So
now you're completely absolved of doing it.
Now, Kathy, those are 3 Kathy shots there on the left.
Yeah.
The reflection of the bride with her mother putting on the makeup, and then the something borrowed, something blue, and the things. And so Kathy did a wonderful job. And luckily, she was up there, and we went down and shot the groomsmen.
You need it's a team sport when you're doing this kind of stuff.
Yeah, it is. And I love these shots that Kathy got. Her looking out at the rain, the flower girl looking out at the rain, and Kathy was in the midst of all this. Now, these are ones that I shot before we turned things over to Kathy. I'm using the Canon 11 to 24.
How much do you like that?
Greatest wide-angle lens in the history of wide-angle lenses. I love it. I love it on a level I can't even tell you. So, I'm basically, that was Brad will tell you, 70-200 and the 11 to 24 the entire day, except for one instance you're going to see in a minute. But so at some point, this is going to switch to the groomsmen. We had a weird situation. The groomsmen are all in the lobby. This is a small hotel. There was no place to shoot in the lobby. I am not joking. Kathy, was there any place to shoot in the lobby? None. Zero. Number one, all the groomsmen were hanging out in the lobby. And the bride and the groom can't see each other, so we can't bring the bride out there, period.
Right.
The groomsmen are all there. Other people are in the lobby because it's pouring rain outside.
And the room where they had the wedding, like, you walk in the front door of the hotel, like 20 feet through the lobby, and there's the room.
Now, the room is round. It's a round room, and we knew what we were going into, and we knew we were going to use natural light. The problem is when you're counting on natural light and there's a thunderstorm of biblical proportions and it's completely gray outside, all of a sudden you're shooting at 1600 ISO in the middle of the day because the windows are tinted.
Now, just to kind of pull out for a second here and just kind of take a look at the overall scope. If you're watching most of this, if I were listening to this, and I just kind of wanted to be the person that's like on the wall here. Number one, you scout. Number two, you go in with a set of lights, a very dedicated kit, and you go, this is what I need.
Simple kit.
A simple kit
we
to be
went
able to
simple.
do most of that stuff.
One light, one flash.
One light, one flash. 3, and he didn't say this, I'm going to say this, it's going to be a shameless plug. You need to go in with some recipes. Like, I would buy the digital photography book recipes just to have some stuff in your bag. The difference between a photographer who's kind of doing this and a pro is what happens when that door opens and you're looking at that window and you're going, I don't know what I'm going to be able to do. The pro has some tricks in his bag. The pro is the guy who turns around and goes, yeah, you know what, man, I got this.
Yeah, but do you know why? And you know how you do that, RC? Because RC makes a really great point. is the only way to get that is experience. Because when I came to that window, I wasn't like, oh no, what to do? I'm like, oh yeah, I remember in St. Petersburg, we were shooting in the Lyceum. Yeah. We had the bride open the window and it looked, there's a telephone pole out there. And I remember that it blew it out.
Right.
That's the thing about experience is the next time you go there, it sounds like, wow, how did he know?
Right.
Only because I'd done it before, because I'd been in the same situation and worked it out. That's the thing. When I watch Joe McNally walk into a situation and there's glass everywhere and all, it's Joe goes, oh, okay, we're going to put up a curtain over here. We're going to put a black thing over here. We're going to screw, because that's probably the 10th time Joe has done that.
Right.
He's had that experience. He knows what to do. You're drawing on things that you did before.
Right. But that's where I would argue, I think that having recipes, like having stuff in your tool belt.
Oh, knowing that
if
that's
you don't
one.
have it,
right,
that's important, right? So
right.
Those are the things that we're having there. Number 4 is make sure that you shoot in a team. Right? Make sure that you shoot teams so that you focus on the things that you want to do and you trust that the other people that are doing it.
Yeah, I knew having Kathy up there, I knew that I had absolutely no worries about what was going to be captured in that room. Now, so here's the thing. Somebody wrote to me during the middle of this because I've been kind of chronicling this on my Facebook page. If you go to facebook.com/skelby, so my first initial and my name, S. Kelby, I was chronicling things as they went, and one of the people asked, and the guy says, oh, I've got a wedding tomorrow or whatever. It's my first one. I'm like, get a second shooter. Let me tell you what, you need, number one, it is not something you want to do alone. And however much you have to invest in a second shooter, you will go, oh my gosh, that was the smartest thing I ever did.
And you showed up with 2 specialists.
I showed up with 2 people that are well versed in this, and even at that, the 3 of us were running around like crazy.
Then number 5 within all of that stuff is set the expectation.
Yeah, set the expectation with the bride and groom. All right, I'm going to take you through a couple more real quick. This one was a really hard one. I was hoping to show you some of the post-processing on this. This is 7 different shots. So I lined up in front of the brides. I had them get in a row here, and I shot each. This is a pano. I shot each one of these individually. This is 7 different photos put together. And I told them I want to make this a 2-page spread in the book, and I told them what I was going to try to do. And I think what makes this so cute is one of the bridesmaids was so much shorter than the rest. And so I know that when the bride and groom see this, they're going to go, oh, there she is. Oh, that's so sweet. So, but this was quite a bit to put together because unfortunately I shot it in the bedroom and there was so little room that I wound up having to do some of this manually. It did not come together perfectly as a pano. The right way to do this would have been just stand back with a 70 millimeter and shoot it.
But there was not room for that.
There was absolutely no room to do that. I'm going to take you through a few. This is one that I asked Kathy to do. I asked Kathy to do this shot on the right. I said, can you have the bride hold in her hand the 2 shoes? And I tell you what, this came out better than I had ever hoped. Kathy did such a beautiful job on this shot here. It's one of my favorite shots in the whole book. I'm going to just rip you through some more. Can I show you the trick to the ring shot?
Yep.
Here we go. You take your iPhone.
Or iPad.
And so I brought an iPad to do this trick, and it was downstairs with the other stuff. So I took out my iPhone.
6 Plus.
iPhone 6 Plus. Laid the wedding rings on there and shot it with a 100 millimeter macro lens. I can actually, give me just a second, and I will go back to my Facebook page and I will pull up the production shot of me actually shooting it. Here we go. This is it right here. Take a look on my screen. That's me shooting it on my phone. And it worked out very, very well. Honestly, it's a little tricky on the phone, but I still got it done. If you have an iPad, it's very, very easy. Because I didn't want to have to crop it later, so I could have easily cropped it later, but I said, no, I want the whole thing just to fit on the screen, so I did it. Okay, back to our wedding in progress. Okay, so more shots. All right, so now's the groomsmen. The only place I could possibly shoot them was in the actual room where the wedding was being held. By the way, the bride and the groom, such a lovely couple, so nice. And the groomsmen were so easy and so much fun. I mean, they were just like, I had to give them the slightest little nudge and they will just go bazonkers. They were really just so much fun. Look at this. So here's what I did. I pulled out a fisheye. Oh yeah, the 15 millimeter fish. And I showed the groom, right? I took a shot. I said, take a look. I said, I'm going to get really close to your face, but here's why. And he loved it. And so then here's
you know what I
couple
like
more
about that picture?
shots.
Let me just go back for a second.
Yeah.
You know what I like about those two pictures? It shows your football sensibility with Bride's with. That's what I liked about
Yeah,
watching
taking
Brad's
the-
pictures.
and then-
Brad's picture showed concert sensibility
Yep.
for the party.
Yep.
So it's nice to see how like the different genres
Yeah.
can kind of mesh in there. So
All right.
And they were just a fun group to.
They were really fun group. They were just hilarious.
They're like, "What do you want us to do?" Yeah,
All right. So this is taken in the ugly ballroom. This is natural window light taken in the middle of the ugly. Actually, if you give me a second, I can show you ugly ballroom. It's right. Oh, I don't want to go to book. Here we go. There's ugly ballroom.
nice.
All right. So that's ugly ballroom, and then there's me shooting in ugly ballroom. Can I tell you something? This is really important. You know what I spend a lot of time doing in post production? And this is going to sound crazy. You don't have to look at the screen anymore there. Thank you. What I did in post-production, I would say, what did I spend a lot of my time doing? Really, 3 things. Removing sprinklers. Because when you look at the shot and think, what are the distracting things? How often do we talk about this on this very show? I removed sprinklers. I removed vents from the ceilings. Yeah, if you look at the production shot, can we look at the production shot again? I'm going to go full screen with it. Lights in the ceiling. Sprinklers. Now, I wouldn't in this production shot, but I'm going to show you the final shots in a minute. Right there, vents, speakers, lights. You know what else I wound up doing a lot too? Was sometimes you'd have a beautiful thing with lights and a light or two would be out. You literally, the light would just be off and then you have bright light, out. So I would copy the light, do flip horizontal in Photoshop and copy it over to the other light. So every light was turned on. And you think, really, you go to that level? You know what? When it's an important shot, I don't do it for every shot, but when it's an important shot, I cannot tell you what a difference. Removing reflections from windows. When we shot the only place we could shoot the bridal party was at the front of the room. It's glass all the way around. What was in every single pane of glass? A 53-inch Octa. So here's the trick that I did. I talked about this on my Shoot Like a Pro tour. I would take 2 shots. Click, click. The first shot, the flash would fire. The second shot, the flash would not fire. So I had it in high speed mode. So it's like click, click. Now, this is a trick I learned from David Hobby, and it works brilliantly. So I've lit the formal, and then I've lit the room where there's no reflections of the light, and I have 2 shots. One with no reflections, very, very dark. One with reflections. You take them both into Photoshop, put them together, hit layer mask, you paint right over where the light was, and it's gone. And I was able to remove every single reflection in no time because of that technique that I learned from David Hobby years ago on one of our shows. He called it the double tap. 2 very quick in succession. And how many times did I use that during the day? 50, 60 times. To have that second one to be able to go back and fix a reflection or fix a problem or fix overexposure from the light spilling in places you don't want it to spill. So that was kind of a key. I'm going to jump back to the...
Why don't we do this?
Break time?
Let's take a quick
yeah.
break. We'll take a break for all railroad crossings, and we will be right back here on the grid. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm UK photographer Glyn Jewis, and I really hope you'll come check out my brand new class, Shooting Muscular Sports Physiques, only on KelbyOne.com. Now in this class we're going to be on location in a real life boxing gym, and I'm not just going to show you multiple lighting setups, but I'm also going to show you how you can get the most out of each of those setups to get a variety of different shots. Now we're going to be photoing a couple of kickboxers who've already got muscular physiques, but I want to show you just a couple of simple tips and tricks that'll take a great muscular physique and make it look fantastic all on location. So come and check out my brand new class only on KelbyOne.com.
Hey guys, I'm Eric Valland. I'm a lifestyle and environmental portrait photographer based out of New York City. I want to invite you guys to check out my newest class, Taming Natural Light, no strobes required, available only on KelbyOne.com. So this class is for anyone who wants to be able to take amazing photographs outdoors. What we're going to teach you is how to take this unruly natural light and tame it into something truly beautiful. This class is for anyone who may have just picked out a camera and wants to go ahead and make great portraits without any gear at all. Or if you want to go ahead and add a 5-in-1 reflector to your kit, you can really take those great portraits and step them up a notch. It's also for all you shooters out there who are self-proclaimed natural light shooters and want to kick it to the next level and create commercial quality images without the need for big expensive strobes out on location. I'm Eric Vallon. Make sure you check out my class on KelbyOne.com.
Welcome back, everybody. RC here with Scott Kelby and Brad Moore here on the grid. We're talking about wedding disasters and dropping some knowledge in the meantime.
That was Kathy Perepsky in that. Did you see them walking past with holding a giant scrim?
Really?
In the Eric Vallon ad that was just on, that was Kathy Perepsky holding that scrim.
We made it. We made her appear.
We made her on the show just like that. We got her on the show after all, even if it was just a brief moment. So, hey, we don't have that much time, so I'm going to kind of rip. We have a couple of questions. Nicodemus22 said, and that's where Photo Mechanic is a lifesaver. Photo Mechanic is great. We use it quite a bit. Let's see. Ustreamer74431 asks, were you on a time limit on this wedding? Like the bride has to be there and here at that time? Absolutely. We were given from the bride a schedule of everywhere we're supposed to be. Now, I want to tell you this. I've never had a situation where a bride said, we're going to have this amount of time, and you actually had anywhere near that. So we were supposed to have a solid hour with the bride for bridal portraits. Kathy says we had 20 minutes. I'm thinking we had 30. But I'm going to go with we had 25 minutes of the hour we're supposed to have. But that's typical.
Yeah, that'll happen.
Everybody always runs behind. You're downstairs. You're all set up. You're ready to go. When's the bride coming? She's coming. Is she here yet? You know, that is absolutely typical. And so everything is planned out. To answer your question, everything was planned out. They arrive at this time. Then you're going to have the groom's portraits. The groomsmen, and then you're going to do this. And everything was planned out right up to the time that the wedding happens, the time that the cocktail hour happens, the time that the reception starts, the time where the bouquet. It's. Now I'm sure there's weddings that are very loose. This was not one of them, and it hasn't been
And they were pretty much on schedule the whole time.
Yeah, for the last wedding we had actually an Excel spreadsheet.
Now, did you run through Photo Mechanic to do most of this stuff, like to do picks and rejects, or did you just run it straight through Lightroom? I'm curious.
I ran it through Photo Mechanic first. I ran it through Photo Mechanic. I got it down to my picks, and I brought the picks into Lightroom.
Now I got to tell just a quick side jump because I had it over there in the box and I remembered it. Remind me to show you palette gear. If you haven't seen it, remind me to show you.
I got a cool giveaway to give away too that we didn't mention. So we're mentioning the books.
Let me get it over there, Kathy.
I got a giveaway. All right, so I'm going to run.
Finish that.
I'm going to back to the book real quick.
I
skipped over a few pages because, well, who cares? Right. So this is right before they're getting. So the make ready room was the executive boardroom at the hotel, and they were singing. So look, this was great for me and Kathy able to shoot in here. We're both hiding in the corner, so we're kind of out of the way, and they're literally singing and dancing. And so we were very, very lucky to have such a great group. These were a couple of shots when the bride was getting dressed. One of the little girls the flower girls asked, "Can I get under your dress?" And Kathy and I are like, "Oh yeah, please." So Kathy was shooting from her knees. I got these standing up, but they're just so cute, under the bride's dress. You now see this shot where you got the shadow there that was taken in that ballroom with that one strobe. What we basically did was made the room black and then turn on the light, so it was dark. Same thing here over on the right. We just stuck one Canon flash behind her, right, just firing forward, and then she started to break up right before she went out the doors. But we had three angles covered. Like Kathy was covering behind the bride. Brad was inside the I wouldn't call it church, inside the ceremony room, and I was right there with the bride and groom. So here's the room. Ready for this? Fisheye on a pole straight from the football game.
Yeah.
I have a production shot. So this is exactly what I do when I'm shooting an NFL game. I mount my camera on a pole. Now I only took 3 shots. 1, 2, 3, because I didn't want to be in the room with a pole and really be distracting. So once everybody was seated, and we're literally 3 minutes before the bride's going to come in, or the bridesmaids, I ran in. Brad had the pole ready for me with a remote. I'm going to show you a production shot.
It's called a monopod.
It's called, what did I call it? A pole? It's a monopod. Thank you, Brad. You're funny, Brad, or whatever your name is. All right, I have the production shot. Not of that exact one, but I'll show you what it is. Here we go. There it is. So this is the rig. I'm holding in my hand a pocket wizard to fire it. It's just screwed into the end of a monopod, and another pocket wizard on top with a cable plugging it into the camera. So super easy setup, and I was able, and you're gonna see, so I took really 3 fisheye shots the entire day. So I brought a fisheye lens for only 3 total shots. but all three of them made the book because, you know, I want to be able to show the room right before the bride enters.
Right.
I want to be able to show an empty reception hall before it's all messed up with people. And then I wanted to do the one with the groomsmen. All right, so let me zoom back to the, we'll go back to the book and we'll hit book, not map, book. All right, so we're back with you live here. So here's some more shots where, here's the ceremony. I'm just gonna blast through these real quick. There's ceremony shots. Oh, remote camera. So later, that same remote, we hid behind, there was no getting behind. Take a look at the room here. So here's, look in the middle where you see the cross. That's where the ceremony is.
Can you zoom in?
Oh, can I zoom in? I think I can. What is over there? Remote. And the Canon camera has not a silent mode, but a quiet mode. It's about...
I think it's called silent mode, but it's not silent.
It's called silent mode, but it's not silent. It's a very, very quiet shutter. So I could fire it from behind, and that was... You're seeing the shot there. Let me back off. Here's the shots from the remote camera. Why isn't it back to 2-page spread? Hold on. Let me go back to 2-page spread. Sorry,
I probably turned it off when you zoomed in.
Yeah, I did. I hit the letter G, and that's not the letter you want to hit.
G golly, Scott.
Oh, G Grover. All right. So those are the remote camera shots. Got a couple more here.
That's nice.
All right, and then, so see this shot on the right? That is shot in that empty ballroom. So that is the 53-inch Octa, and this is why you want to bring a light no matter what. You want to have a light, because you can't tell it's a horrible ballroom. I can show you the exact setup. We have the production shots here. You can't tell it's a horrible ballroom, but it is. So the light is right here.
Wow.
So it's just one big 53-inch Octa. She's standing in the ballroom, and I have my shutter speed at I think a 200th of a second or something like that. And basically, I'm in manual mode. I made the room go black, and then we just turn on the light. And you can see the exact position that I'm shooting from. And we got to go back to the book. We're almost done, because we're about to get to the reception where you see some of Brad's work. All right, so here we are. And so that's how we made that shot there.
Nice.
Pretty simple.
Nice, nice.
Now, these are also made with natural light in that same, and these are some of my favorites, window light in that room. And basically, we didn't have any choice. This was the only place for us to shoot. And so then there's the formals. Lots of formals, lots of family. This is that shot that you just saw me taking with the fisheye from up at... Now, this actually might have not been the fisheye. This is the 11. I think we put the 11... Yeah, Kathy says yes. I put the 11 millimeter up there, and we got the whole room before the guests were let in. And then here's some detail shots that I took. I managed to take the little card of both fathers, the father of the bride and the father of the groom, and I've got those there. And then so we're just some nice detail. Here's some more detail shots. I got them signing the marriage certificate, and there's the groom's father, his card.
Is that a pen or a pencil?
That is a pen.
Are you sure? Because I think there's an eraser on there.
Not an eraser.
In case they change their mind.
All right, now it's reception time. We're at the reception. This is the first dance. Yes, it's the first dance. I am firing. So I have my camera in my hand with a Canon flash on top, and the flash is not aiming at the bride and groom. The flash is aiming straight at the ceiling. Now, I'm not bouncing off the ceiling. The ceiling was very high, maybe 18, 20 feet. So I'm just trying to send a little light forward towards them.
Right.
So I'd say my power was at, what do you think, 1/4 or something like that? It was pretty low.
Sure.
Brett, sure. It was low power. I'm going to say maybe 1/4 power, just enough to send a little light forward. So now we can send full power, go to the roof, and probably get some, but we didn't. So here at when the father and daughter were doing their dance, I grabbed Brad. Brad, take this flash, and I gave the flash to Brad and had Brad run around behind the bride and groom and just had. Now it's tricky for Brad to find a spot, like where's because they're moving, they're dancing, and Brad is high. There's groomsmen and people in front of him.
The flash, you don't want necessarily, unless you're going for the look on the right there, you don't want the flash to be in the picture, but you want it to
You want it to be like the one on the left.
So like they're moving, you're moving, and I'm trying to find a spot where you can't see me, and I'm behind them. And it was. Yeah, and then it was so dark that you were having trouble walking focus.
So Brad comes over and says, well, how did it go? And I said, Brad, in that entire song, I think I only got 7 shots off. He's like, why? It was so dark in the room that I could not get my camera to catch focus. It wouldn't lock onto anything.
Right.
And so what I would try to do is I would try to lock onto their hair or something up high. Because one of the places that your camera is likely to focus, if you can't get it to focus, is on an edge.
Yeah.
It may not get their face, so then you go to the top of their head where their head meets the background and try to focus on that. And I was only able to get 7 shots, and there you're seeing 2 of them right there. Now, Brad, this is a Brad shot, and I think Brad did a gorgeous job with this. This is the 11 millimeter.
That's an awesome shot.
Dude, look at the epicness of that. Now, that's Brad doing the smart thing. When you have that wide angle lens, you get down low, and I love this shot. I think Brad did an absolutely beautiful job with that shot. And by the way, I can only have one lens on my camera at a time. I got the 70-200. You saw the shots that I got. Brad is there. In this case, with the 11-24, you can't get them both. You're going to get one or the other, and that's the wonderful thing about having a second shooter. Yep. Kathy's on the other side with the 70-200 shooting like it's 70. So we had it totally covered. Now let's look at the party, the reception. It was a great reception. I will tell you, it was everybody hit the dance floor immediately. The DJ was great and easy to work with, and it was Party City. And we're shooting with no flash. So now. Can I tell you what? Can I give you the big secret? If I had to pick, what was the thing that made your day the easiest? Hands down, besides having 2 assistants, auto ISO.
Yeah.
Dude, auto ISO, and Brad was the one that turned me on to it, and I've known it exists for many years, and I'm now using it in football. This is the first wedding where I ran auto ISO almost the entire day.
The only time you turn it off is when you're using flash.
When you're using flash. Every other time, because whatever ISO you need to get to 100, so you get to set your minimum shutter speed. In fact, if you go to my blog, which we're going to do right this second, we're going to go to my blog, and I will show you exactly how it works. Because yesterday, not today, because today I have a very good guest blog, by the way, from Jacob Slayton.
Jacob Slayton.
Jacob Slayton. I'm sorry, Jacob. Great blog. I read it this morning. So here it is, right here. This right here. You want to turn on auto ISO, and then you get to choose a minimum shutter speed. I chose 1/125th of a second, which means no matter what happens, my shutter speed will be 1/125th. Well, 1/125th is a pretty easy one to handhold.
Right.
Now, can I tell you something? There were times where my ISO got to 20,000. I would say most of the time 1,600, 3,000, sometimes 4,000, but I got the shots. Now here's the nice thing about 1/125th of a second for the reception. When people are dancing and they're going, you make me want to shout. When they move fast, it blurs all their hands. And what that gives you is a sense of motion. So if you shoot a flash, let's just say that you shoot a regular flash, you shoot into the crowd, this is what you get. Everybody frozen. No motion, no movement. It makes everybody, it looks like all the house lights are on, and it freezes everybody. When you shoot at 1/125th of a second, you get like, let's go back and look at the what you call it. See how there's blurring in the hands? That means we're moving. That movement that you see there is really important. All that movement around where you see blurry hands and blurry stuff, that means people are dancing and partying. Now there's the cake cutting. And, look at this. You can see me and Kathy. There's Kathy. There's Kathy. There's me. So who took this shot? One of the guests. No, Brad, of course. All right, throwing the bouquet, carrying on, crazy stuff, blah, blah, blah. These are a couple of detail shots, and we're done. Okay, so those are a couple of things. Somebody says, how do you aim with the monopod? You know what? So that's neutronal photon?
Neuronal.
Thank you. I should never read anybody's names. So it is wide angle. So all you do is put it up. I have center focus. Click.
Take a shot. Look at it, and if it's off for some reason,
none of them were ever out of focus. They were all dead on the
Yeah, they're not going to be out of focus, but it's just a matter of, I aim too high or too low. I need to readjust.
So I would take 1 or 2 shots. I would pull the monopod down and go, I need to go to the left a little. Click, pull it down, look, So that's it.
Yeah.
So focus is not a problem. Aiming is, you take a few test shots and check it out. Ustreamer asked, did you shoot in RAW or JPEG for faster editing? I shot in RAW, shot the whole thing. I only shoot sports because with sports, I have a very, very short time to upload to a wire service. I need them to look good without having to do a bunch of junk. But with a wedding, I've got. Let's see. Wait. Who has problems with exposure when there's a sparkler exit at the end? Yeah, that's a very popular thing now to have sparklers and all.
Bracket.
Yeah, bracket. Just bracket.
Hey, let me show you this real quick.
Okay.
So this is the palette thing. You haven't had a chance to see it. It's been here, but you haven't had a chance to see it. These are actual control buttons.
Can you? Oh, you can see.
Yeah. So they had it in there. So they're
Wait a minute.
It's
what
over
camera?
there.
Oh, I'm saying what camera's getting to
So
that?
the reason I'm saying this is because they're coming to Photoshop World. You got a USB cable. You connect it to this.
Yeah.
So pick, reject, previous, and next.
No. That's cool.
Oh, there's sliders too.
And then, no, wait.
Reject?
Previous and next. Wait. No, get out. Watch this. Look, you take this thing. I've been wanting to show this to you. We haven't had a chance. Look. Right? Exposure. Contrast. Brightness. Clarity. So anyway, it just came in. It just came in. Anyway, it just came in. So Palette Gear is the company that's doing it.
Dude, that's bad.
So it's so they're going to be at Photoshop World. So they sent over a kit. They wanted me to play around with it. I have another kit that is here for you.
Dude,
as well.
let's hook it up and use it.
Yeah, dude,
That's
cool.
awesome. All right.
Anyway,
so
had to do it.
Can I
Sorry.
show you my cool thing?
Yes.
And it's very cool, but after seeing that, I wish I'd show mine first. It's good. It's good.
Sorry.
So I just got this today, just unsolicited. I saw this package on my desk, and so basically, this person went to I guess Zach Arias did a thing, some kind of a photo challenge where you went out and shot different things, and there was a contest. And he said, I did it, and it was great. He didn't win, but what he did learn was that you learn a lot, and we know this, and I think you may know this as well, that you learn a lot from having a project. Like you're supposed to go shoot something, and having to do that makes you think, it makes you focus. It's really, you know what that is? It's the difference. Can I tell you, I just read a thing this week, and I think this will be a great help to photographers. Though it was an email to me about guitar, because I'm signed up for a lot of guitar stuff because I need a lot of work on my guitar. So the guy writes in and was talking about practice, and he goes, if you're picking up your guitar every day and you're noodling, that's what we just, you're playing songs,
right,
which I do in my office and stuff. And he goes, that's not practice. That's noodling. That's having fun. That doesn't make you better at guitar. And if you're wondering for I haven't gotten any better in the last couple of years, it's probably because you're picking up your guitar and you're playing your favorite songs and you're just noodling. Practice is when you go to your guitar and you say, I'm going to practice for 30 minutes on getting faster. I'm going to practice scales. That's practice. Well, what this tool is about is for photography. When you have a project, that's practice. You're not just walking around and taking pictures. So this guy came up with this thing called the bigger picture, or see the bigger picture, all right? And it is playing cards packed full of very clever projects.
What? Okay, all right. Now I need this. I gotta see this. All right, so
it's very nicely done.
Can you take a look at? Oh wow!
It's a deck of cards. It's a thick deck. And can you show what they look like? Like in flip,
So here, I'll flip
them over.
I'll flip over.
Yeah, you have to go a little further into it.
Yeah, I'll go
there
further
we go.
into it.
Now look, just pick one. Backlighting.
All
So
right, let me get over here so you can kind of see it.
So you pull out the backlighting card, and let me read the spider one. Give me the one with the spider.
The spider? Okay, here you go.
All right. So
this is
because
cool.
we're going to give this away. The reason why I'm showing this, we're going to give this away today on the show. All right. It says vignette. So explains first what your project is. It's a vignette is a fall off in brightness towards the edges of the photo called natural vignetting. It's an unwanted side effect of certain lenses. However, such a shadow can also be used intentionally as a stylistic device. Then he says your task is to shoot through a hole approximately 2/3 the size of your lens diameter. The opening should be centered and quite close to the lens, and he gives you a tip. For example, cut a hole in a leaf or a star shape in a piece of cardboard, and you use that as your vignette. And so he gives you little icons at the bottom and little tasks. So the thing is
This is cool.
And it shows you an example photo of kind of so you get the idea. And he said, he just sent it to me and said, hey, what do you think? Well, he sent me 2, so I'm giving away 1 today on the show. And I want to give you their web address because I think it was cool. I think it's a great idea. Oh, Brad's got it on my screen. Okay, so the website is biggerpicture.cards. All right, biggerpicture.cards. cards. And it's improve your photographic skills with a bigger picture inspiration.
This
and
is neat.
I think it's very well done. It's $14.90.
$14.90 for all of the projects that you could possibly shoot.
Yeah, more projects. Well, figure it this way: there's 52 of them.
Good for them.
Boom.
Good for them.
Ustreamer4024 said it's training. If you have trouble making yourself do it, let somebody else do it. That is what Roberto talks about in his books, by the way. So thank you for sharing that. So anyway, so during the course of this wedding, when I call it a disaster, of course, it wasn't the bride, it wasn't the groom. They couldn't have been nicer. The groom's parents, everybody was really, I mean, it was a best case scenario as far as they took it all in stride. But I remember a moment where Kathy and Brad and I were standing in the lobby and we're going, there's no place here to shoot. And we can't shoot in the bar. The bar's full of people.
I wasn't stressed about it.
We can't bring the bride out through their period. The only place that we could go was to that ballroom. And so I think what is really good about having some things in your, like RC says, in your tool bag, like having a light and knowing how to make the room completely black. So you just light the bride with them. So before the bride came in, we had 5 different places that I knew I could shoot in that room. So one I knew was opening the drapes.
Right.
Number 2 was that pretty shot where you saw her bouquet to the side. And by the way, we talk about this on the tour now, on the current tour that I'm on. Once you're shooting someone about 5 minutes in, stop and take a break and look at the images. And you'll find a pose that they look great in. Like you'll find a pose, like she looked to the side once and I saw that she had a wonderful profile. So I knew right then, okay, great, have her look over at the bouquet because I saw that she had a great profile. So if you're just shooting and shooting and shooting, you won't have time to stop and go, oh man, does she have a great profile? I need to shoot more of that. So that's an important thing.
And going the opposite direction in that, thankfully we had a great bride this time.
We did.
Had great everything basically, but
she had great everything.
But well, this isn't just brides or whatever. This is people in general. When you're shooting, you stop and you look and you see things that you should tell them not to do or steer them away from doing those things.
Right. Like I remember doing a portrait shoot just recently, and I asked the subject to smile. Well, her big smile was terrible. Right?
Doesn't make them ugly or anything.
No, it's just her.
It's just
she
not
was not a
flattering.
big smiler. So I said, give me a little smile. Her little smile was great. And so, but listen to this. Now think about this. And this was just 3 weeks ago or something. I remember thinking, I said, okay, in my mind, her big smile's terrible. There's no reason for me to ever ask her for a big smile again. Don't ever take another picture. If she has a really bad big smile, it's really, really gummy and all that, you're wasting her time, you're wasting your time, and you're getting further away from a shot that you want to keep. So once you realize big smile, then you know when you say to her smile, you know the words out of your mouth aren't smile. It's give me a little smile. Show me a little bit of teeth.
You also don't say, oh my God, that was terrible. Never do that again.
I would never say
be
that, of
tactful.
course. All right, I would say it to you, but I wouldn't say
I know
it.
you would.
All right,
You
so
did.
anyway, so there was, I do want to let you know something I learned from Calibra. And this happened when I was shooting, this is a couple of years ago in St. Petersburg at a reception hall, and things were kind of going crazy. And Calibra, after the shoot, came to me and said, when things are going crazy, don't try to tough it out. Stop for a moment, get away from everything, and just calmly think. Now, Brad and I were doing a shoot here in the studio a week ago, and Brad remembers me walking out twice. And he came out and found me once, and I'm sitting by myself at a table because something wasn't going the way I wanted it to. And I was I'm moving the lights and things, and it's just not working. And I just needed to get away.
Just kind of got to reset.
Yeah, you got to reset. And so that's the last thing that I would give you from this class today is that when you realize, all of our outdoor shots are shot, we can't even open a window to bring light in. We don't just go, oh my gosh, what are we going to do? Don't get into a panic state. Just everybody kind of take a break. And I called Brad and Kathy. We sat there and I said, there's no place to shoot here. And Kathy's like, no. Brad's like, no. And we realized, but at that point is when you need to take that break and
just your happy place.
Be quiet and think for a minute. Don't try to pull something out that's just in the haste of the moment. And that's when we went in that room and I looked around and said, all right, what can I get out of here? A window light shot. Mm-hmm. I can get her opening the windows. I can do a silhouette from the side. I can do one in black and white. And then we took the third one and we put the light behind her. So in any kind of room, you have 3. As long as you brought a light, If you don't, and you know what, I tell people that even all you have to learn to do is learn one light. You don't have to learn to do 20 lights. But if you master one light, then you can shoot all the time.
Yep.
If I hadn't brought a light or hadn't bought a flash, in that room, I basically had two shots. But because we brought a light, I had 5. And when I took the shot of her, the one I showed you with them, and I walked over to the bride's mother and showed her, and her brother was like, oh, I mean, she was really taken away with it. And that's because we remembered to bring a light. So we show up with, knowing what your gig is going to be. Okay. We are about out of time.
Yep.
Well,
Let me talk to you about
some
some new classes real quick before we go anywhere. So new class, Frank Dorhoff has a new class called Coaching the Model. And he's in his studio and shares his tips and techniques for how to put your model at ease before the shoot and how to give more effective directions to your model. Frank also takes some time to share his lighting setup as well as some of his secrets about adding depth and dimension to your photos and shadows. Awesome class that I know you'll get a lot of. Make sure that you take a look at that over at KelbyOne.
Yeah, Frank's classes are awesome.
They're really, really good.
And you know what? I asked Frank to do that class.
Yep.
Because Frank is really great. Because I think a lot of people struggle with
giving direction.
With giving direction to the model. Like they don't know really what to say and they don't know how to interact and so the whole class is really about working with the model and stuff.
Right.
Hey, we got a question. I want to answer real quick. Do you always go with a battery pack for your big lights? No AC connection? No.
Well, when you're on location, you don't want to rely on, there'll be an outlet nearby. You don't know.
You have no idea.
So having a battery pack is just insurance, basically.
Yeah, and think of this. If you're shooting in a church, that's one of the hardest places to find a plug. The plug is never where you want to be in the pews or wherever you are. So having that battery pack and be able to run, we call it run and gun, is really, really helpful. Back to RC.
Perfect.
Because he's got a thing.
Now, make sure, for Photoshop World, make sure there's still free expo-only tickets available for Photoshop World in Las Vegas. We will be there next week.
Yeah.
And if you're planning on coming to the expo, we'd love to see you at our after-hours party. You can get tickets to the after-hours party at photoshopworld.com and click on register and select the after-hours party.
Kathy, you going to Photoshop World?
She's going to. We're working on it. We're working on it.
I've been trying. We spent the whole wedding, every moment that we weren't shooting. We're like, so Kathy, you going to Photoshop World? So Kathy, are you gonna go?
So I got to do one more here. PeachBit ebook deal. We're gonna get 40% off this ebook. Go to peachbit.com/KelbyOne. Enter in the code KelbyOne. You're going to get Nikon lenses from snapshots to great shots. So if you want to know what book to use to create just great images with Nikon, that's the place for you to do it. We're going to give away these books as well. I'm going to move my palette thing out of the way. Dude, I got to get you to check that out. That'll be cool. But here, we're going to give away How Do I Do That on Lightroom by Mr. Scott Kelby. That one right there. And Mr. El Señor. And Peter Hurley's The Headshot. So you guys are going to win this. How do you win this?
And the cards?
And the cards. So you got to tell us what you want, right? So we have the cards here as well. How are you going to win this? You're going to go to KelbyOne.com/contest, put in your name, put in your email address, put in your website, and tell us which of these you would like to win. That's pretty much it.
3 last tips. These are good stuff.
Okay. UStreamer52101 said, I used to bring 2 large thermoses of iced tea on weddings. One of them was for the bride and groom after the formal shots. That's good.
Nice?
That's a great way to do it.
That's very smart.
Brian Clary 1 said, I've started bringing portable fans for the bride. Indoor AC is never enough in the old churches.
Well, plus because the bride's outfits are so large.
Those
are both really great tips. The last tip I want to show you, if you can look on my screen real quick. The last tip is here's a behind-the-scenes shot of me doing the formals. So that is a very large, that's the softbox we were talking about, 53 inches. It's $299 from B&H. So we used it for that bridal portrait, and then here it is lighting like 20 people in a group shot.
Nice.
So, and all I did was put it directly behind me, up on a stand. And when I said I put it there, actually, Brad, thank you. Brad put it there. There's Kathy looking on, and Kathy was great. Kathy was so great at wrangling people. It left me free to be able to worry about, getting their poses and getting. And we did a trick that worked unbelievably well. It's from I think it's from my very first digital photography book.
Yep.
Got a group of 18 people. You're going to take shots. You know what's going to happen? 3 people's eyes are going to be closed in every shot. And so I would have everybody close their eyes. So I go, okay, everybody close your eyes. You're going to open them on 3. Ready? Open them on 3. 1, 2, 3. Open them. Click.
And you're done.
Every eye is open. Every single eye is open.
Cool.
So, and when I go through these and I'm looking at the final pictures, everybody's eyes open in every single shot. No Photoshop work necessary. No trying to grab one.
You drop the mic and you're out.
You know what else got a big laugh? Twice when I used this at different things, where I'd take a shot, I would take a shot. I try to take 3 of every formal, and I would go, let me just take one more for the guys in case the guys in the lab mess it up. They would all laugh like, they know there's no lab. I go, let me just take one in case the guys in the lab mess up, and everybody laughed. So there's one to throw in your laugh bag.
Keep in mind, also, next week there will be no PT&T and no grid because we will be at Photoshop World.
Yeah, so next week what we're going to do on the grid, we're going to record something once we're off the air, which is reminding everybody to go sign up, because by next Wednesday will be the Worldwide Photo Walk sign-up day.
Perfect.
Next Wednesday.
Well, thanks so much for sharing. Thanks so much for sharing the stories.
Thursday. No, we'll figure it out. Just watch the thing. We'll figure it out.
So anyway, thanks guys for stopping by, and we will see you guys in just a couple of weeks. Take care, everybody.
Jazz hands.
Bye bye.
Jazz hands. Kathy's doing jazz hands.